11-year-old boy named Helmut. It was a time around 1945. The spring season is on set. He was laying on his bed. He overheard the parents talking that we would kill ourselves because now it is a turn of the Allied powers will do what we did to the Jews. So this is the unit in which we will be dealing about Nazism and the rise of Hitler. So moving on to the concept. Helmut is an 11-year-old boy. His father was a physician and he was very prominent in his field. Moving to understand the facts, what did this boy, the 11-year-old boy, listen from his parents? He heard his parents talking about something very mysterious and they want to kill themselves and they want to kill their family also. He had two options. The father had two options. What did they have? The two options. One is either we will end our life together, him, his family, his wife and children together, or he would kill himself and leave the family apart. So this was actually very difficult to take for the child who is 11-year-old boy, and he could not understand actually what is actually happening on and why is his father so much worried and why he want to kill himself and his family. He also heard that what did we do for the Jews, now they are going to do for us. So who are Jews? What did these people do? On the next day, the father came from the office. They went to a picnic of place named Woods where the family enjoyed. The next day, his father shoots himself at the point blank range and kills himself in the office. This boy, who overheard one day before talking between the parents that they are going to kill themselves or the family, found his father dead and the uniform completely covered with blood. So now we are going into the details. This boy, after this incident, he rejected to have food from his parent, especially the mother, for the next 9 years. He was very much deeply moved by the incident. He would not have been felt so bad if he would not have listened to the words what the parents were talking on the prior day. But as he heard that it was a pre-planned one, he was suspecting the mother that even she would give something for me to end up my life. So with this idea only, he rejected for the next 9 years to eat with the hand of his mother's food, whatever she makes. It may be milk, bread, whatever it is. So now moving on. In this lesson, you all might have heard there are different leaders in the world. Some are very commendable leaders. Some are puppets in the hand of powerful powers. Now, Hitler was a name which was used to represent a particular set of people who have a different mindset, who don't listen to anyone, who create harm to many people. These all are the adverbs which can be added to Hitler. Hitler is a word which we use to scold people, which we use to name the people whom we hate. Hitler is considered as one of the dangerous dictators of the 20th century, what the world has seen. He had killed nearly 6 million Jews. He was one of the main reasons for the Second World War to come. And he fought the Second World War by standing in the front. So in this lesson, we will be discussing about what are the views and the ideas of Nazism. What is Nazism? Nazism is spread by Hitler. Nazi means the Germans. He started a party called Nazi Party. From there he had a set of ideas. It's not one idea or the two ideas. It's not only targeting the Jews. It's not only targeting the crippled people. He had a set of ideas which together we call the Nazis ideology. In this unit we will be discussing about Nazis ideology. How did Hitler come to power? What are the conditions before Hitler came to power? What was the political structure at that time? What are the situations that gave a takeoff to Hitler from a normal soldier range who worked as a normal soldier, messenger in World War I, became the reason for World War II. These all we will be dealing in this unit. Now moving on to understand, in May 1945, Germany surrendered to the Allies. Germany got completely defeated. The propaganda minister Goebbels, with his entire family, in the month of April, committed suicide in his own bunker. Why did the propaganda minister of Hitler committed suicide? Because the entire Germany is going to be occupied by the Allied forces, and they are going to destroy them, and they are going to kill the leaders, main leaders, who are the supporters of Hitler now. So in order to avoid that situation, Goebbels, the most popular minister who made Hitler so famous, who was a main in charge to propagate the ideology of Nazism to the world, committed suicide in the month of April. At the end, the 30th day, he committed suicide with his entire family at the bunker where his family used to stay. And an international military tribunal, IMT, was set up at Nuremberg to check into the crimes which the Germans did against humanity. The war against humanity, the atrocities which are made against the humanity in Germany on the wake of Second World War. Why did they commit crimes against humanity? Why did the international tribunal was set up to investigate the issues against humanity? Did they really do anything like that? Yes. If we go to the facts, they are really very astonishing. They devised a new method of killing people. The Germans have crossed all the lines. They have created a new trend in killing people on the name of the Second World War. They targeted special groups of people and eliminated certain sections of people, ultimately from Germany. So it was at the place of Auschwitz, where they have set up special place where they used to fill the people with thousands of people together and send gas to that and kill the thousands of people mercilessly. We used to find thousands and thousands of the dead bodies burnt at a single stretch. The people are killed numerously. We don't know how many exactly are being killed, and they never use the word killed. They use the word final destinations. So it is known as genocidal war. The genocidal war, as per the statistics which are available for us, it is that the Jews, nearly 6 million Jews were killed in the genocidal war. That is, nearly 60 lakh people were killed. Gypsies, 2 million gypsies, that is 20 lakh people were killed. Polish, 1 million, that is 10 lakh people were killed. The other Germans who are physically disabled, Hitler considered the physically disabled people are burdened and economically they are very much costly to maintain them. So he eliminated them also. He don't want any of the crippled people to him. So he killed nearly 70,000 of his own German race also. So if you calculate the statistics, nearly 1 crore people you get here only whom he killed mercilessly. But actually the statistics prove that he killed more than 2 crore people. But even this all happened, the International Military Tribunal, which was set up at Nuremberg to investigate the crimes which are done against humanity on the wake of the Second World War and prior to this under the rule of Hitler, investigated and is able to sentence only 11 people to the lifetime imprisonment. They have given punishment only to 11 people. Why? Why they could not give for many number of people? What is the reason that stopped them? The reason which stopped them was they were partly believing that the First World War, the treatment meted to Germany, was one of the main reasons why Germans rose against the world and fought the Second World War. So what happened after World War I? What are the situations that created a space in the ground for the Germans, or which saw the seeds for the Second World War. What actually happened at that time? We will check out now. At the end of the World War I, the birth of the Weimar Republic was a crucial step or a new turnout which happened in Germany. What are the conditions that led for a new dawn to get raised as on the name of birth of Weimar Republic? It was in the early part of the 20th century. Germany was a very powerful country during the period of 1901 to 1915. With that strength, with that military ability, it ran to the World War I, allying with Austria versus against England, France and Russia. So the World War I happened from 1914 to 1918. Initially, these countries are actually expecting the war would be very small and quick to gain quick victories. They never expected that the war is going to wrap up into a large scale. So they actually fought for initial gains or quick gains. So initially they thought of get quick victory. Yes, in the initial years they got quick victory on the side of Germany and Austria together fought and occupied Berlin. But with the entry of United States in 1917, the Allies became very powerful. England, France, Russia and United States together fought against Germany and Austria. Finally, they were now not in a condition to defend themselves. In November 1918, Germany got defeated in the hands of the Allies, that is England, France, Russia and United States. So there is no other option left out. They have to sign the peace treaty. And the other effects, what happened after World War I was the abdication of the emperor. Emperor was thrown away from his seat. There was a recast of political structure in Germany. Germans want a new democratic structure in place. They don't want the earlier monarchic style of ruling because they failed to control and they could not get any victory for Germans. They lost the war very horribly and they were forced to sign all the agreements whatever the Allies want. So they were not happy even with the monarchic style or even with the new Weimar Republic which was set. A national assembly was convened at Reichstag, the parliament of Germany at Berlin. So now the meeting is going to be held where the people will elect the leaders. The leaders will be elected on the basis of equality between men and women. There will not be any difference between men and women when they put their vote. So they want equality basis. On the basis of equality, they are going to have the National Assembly. The German Parliament is popularly known as Reichstag, or the other name for German Parliament is Reichstag. So this Reichstag got into place, and this Reichstag is also known as Weimar Republic. So along with the birth of Weimar Republic, there was another important significant change or agreement happened between the Germany and the Allied powers which changed the fate of Germany. What was that agreement? We'll check it now. The birth of the Weimar was not taken very profitably or positively by the people. Why? Because it's not only that the Republic was not kicked off well in the Germany, because it was rejected completely. The birth or the Weimar Republic was forced to accept the treaty which was made by the Allies, and Weimar Republic has very little choice to reject it. So it was forced to sign the treaty. So that treaty made a big impact on the Germans' future. So what was that treaty all about? It was a treaty known as Peace Treaty signed at Versailles, popularly known as the Treaty of Versailles. It was signed at a mirrored palace in Versailles. So this was signed in 1919, the Treaty of Versailles. What are the main conditions in this Treaty of Versailles? In this Treaty of Versailles, the overseas colonies which the Germans are holding till that time, it lost up to 10% of them to France, Poland, Denmark, Lithuania, and its own territories were also taken off 13%. It has a capacity to have the iron from its iron ore from the land, where 75% of them are occupied by France, Denmark, Poland and the Lithuanian countries, and even coal was also taken over 26% by them. So its own territories, its foreign territories, its iron, its coal, everything, its natural resources were taken, and Germany was forced to pay 6 billion pounds as war indemnity amount. This is nothing but because of the war, the France, the England, the Russia and the US got loss. So in order to repair the losses, in order to reduce the effect of the loss, the Germany has to pay 6 billion pounds for them. And along with this, its military has been reduced, its naval boats are being reduced. So all these were forcefully made by the victorious allied countries against Germany to sign it. The Germans, who are already defeated, who lost many of their soldiers and do not have any other scope other than just signing it, because it is a peace treaty. Only if you sign that only we can be peaceful. Otherwise, these victorious powers may rob the rest of the nation also, may destroy the other parts of the country also. So they have very little choice, so they are forced to accept all the conditions of the Treaty of Versailles. And many of the historians consider this Treaty of Versailles as a sowing seed for the Second World War, because the Germans are met with a very harsh and humiliating treatment through the Treaty of Versailles. What was the effect of this one and the World War I in Germany? The impact of World War on the Europe, especially on Germany, we are going to stress now. The world, especially Europe, had a devastating impact of World War I. Germans were earlier the creditors. They used to give credit to the other countries. It's not only Germany, England, France, Russia, even the Germans, Austrians, all were quite financially sound before the World War I. The Europe is itself is a bunch of countries who used to give credit to the other countries. Today, they became one of the debtors. They started to take loans from the other countries in order to sustain their positions. That was the impact financially of World War I on Europe. Psychologically also, it had a very large impact on the people. War guilt. Germany was made to pay, as it was a main reason for World War I. So it has been labeled as this is a country which has done a sin, and it has been given the credit of war guilt for the Germans. And the people, those who brought the idea of democracy into existence in Germany, that is the birth of the Weimar Republic by socialists, republicans, Catholics, all these people were targeted by the other conservative groups. They started to criticize these people on the name of November criminals. Because of these people only, today we are suffering a lot, and we have agreed to pay a huge amount of war indemnity. So all these war loss amount, war treaties, everything because of the democracy concept which came into our country. This was very young and fragile idea. It is actually a failure. It got a severe setback in Germany. The people started to rally towards the conservative ideas. The people, especially political parties and publicity, started to put the soldiers above the civilians. Soldiers' life has been called as a trench life will be glorified, and men should be very aggressive, strong and masculine in order to fight the injustice which was done to them on the name of the treaty. So they want the people to be very strong, very aggressive and fight for themselves. So they have to join in the army, they have to be soldiers. Though the life in the soldiers in the army was not so good, they used to stay for many days hungry, starving, but still the trench life has been glorified in the media of Germany. So these all are the impacts which started to be on the mindsets of the people of Germany, and especially on Germany, especially the impact of the people on the Europeans and especially on the Germans. So democracy could not receive a good takeoff in Germany, and it got a severe setback the people, those who got the support or who initiated the process of setting up a democratic structure of Weimar Republic or an institution in place, got branded as November criminals. Now, the political radicalism and the economic crisis in the German setup. What happened? The Spartacist League, which is similar to that Bolshevik revolution, started to gain the ground momentum in Germany. As the Soviets of the workers started the revolution in Russia, the Soviets also want to set up the workers, the sailors in Germany. They also want the workers to lead the movement. So in the similar lines, they also want to have a Russian style of revolution or a Russian style of governance, or it would be right to say a Soviet style. Berlin, the political atmosphere in Berlin got changed with the dreams or with the impact that people want the Soviet style of structure, Soviet style of administration, Soviet style of ruling. They are looking at Soviet structure or the Soviet revolutions as a solution for their problems, because they are facing huge problems now. Now, with this uprising against the existing Weimar Republic, it has to be suppressed. So the uprising got crushed by the war veterans named as Free Corps. They formed an association of corps and they started to crush all the revolts in order to support the democratic setup structure in Weimar. So this, with the fed up of the moves of the government, they started a political party, the Spartacist League, named as Communist Party of Germany, where it brought a clash between the communists and the socialists who are already in support of democracy. Now they were in a state of dilemma whether we have to join towards the Communist Party of Germany or whether we have to support the democratic idea of Weimar Republic. So this also paved a way further that they could not become united at any point of time, even when Hitler was rising completely against democracy also, they could not stop him. And coming to war reparations, political radicalism, which we have discussed till now, economic crisis. Germany has waged wars on the basis of loans which it has taken. By 1923, the war loans started to get its deep impact on the economy of Germany. The war reparations, the gold reserves started to get depleted. So in this situation, Germany decided not to pay, or because the situation is very bad, they could not pay any loan amount back to the French people. So they denied the payment to the French. French got angry against Germans' move, and they have occupied the Ruhr Valley to take coal in excess to compensate the amount that has to be paid by the Germans. Gold reserves are falling down. French has occupied the territories where the natural resource coal is present. So we don't have money now. So what to do? What did the Germans do now? So Germans have started to retaliate the decision taken by the French. So they decided, as the gold value is coming down and we don't have any natural resources left out, so they moved on ahead by started to print the paper currency recklessly. So now we will have a look on the value of the mark. When we don't have the appropriate gold reserves, we are not supposed to print the currency which we have, because that equilibrium has to be maintained. But here the value of the gold is coming down on one side. The Germans started to print the paper currency recklessly. So with this, it has been fully drowned by the economic crisis. The value of the mark against $1 in Germany, the German value of mark, German currency is known as mark. In April it was $24,000, 24,000 for $1. In July it was 3,53,000 for $1. In August it went on completely to 46,21,000, and in December it went to the peaks like 98,860,000 rupees and went on to trillions. So if you want to buy a loaf of bread a piece of bread, you need to carry a full truck of money in order to buy a small piece of bread. This attracted the entire world sympathy towards Germans. The sympathetic situation towards the view what till then the Germans are looked differently. They are looked as sinners. But today, everybody started to look Germany with sympathy, which gained sympathy for the Germans, the worldwide sympathy. And this situation is known as hyperinflation. The inflation is nothing but too much of money chases too less goods. That is the actual definition of inflation. But here, lot of money chasing a small amount of good, which is called hyperinflation. This hyperinflation made the US to look at the issue seriously. So US came down to help the Germans. They initiated the Dawes Plan. So according to the Dawes Plan, the war reparation treaty was rechecked and the economic burden was eased for the Germans to pay easily in easy installments. But the impact was still a very large effect. Did America able to solve the problem, or Americans fell into the problem? In the process of helping the Germans to raise them from the low level pond where the economic crisis was severely hit for the Germans. So in the process of giving hand to them to raise them up, what happened for the Americans? Are they successful in raising the Germans up or not? Now, the years of depression, with the support of United States through the Dawes Plan, Germany started slowly to stand up. As it has fell down, now slowly the efforts were made to make it stand properly. The years from 1924 to 1928 showed some stability for the Germans. They are slowly recovering from the loss of hyperinflation. The years started year after year, they slowly started to develop and stabilize their economy. But they largely depend on the short-term loans which are given by the United States in the process of the Dawes Plan. But on 24th of October 1929, one day itself, the Wall Street market exchange was crashed and nearly 13 million people sold out their shares on a single day, and millions of people have taken back their money from the Wall Street market or the exchange. With this, the American economy fell into problems. The people lost their jobs. Factories were shut down. Till now, the loans which are given to the Germans to support and to stabilize their economy, now as Americans itself were in trouble, they stopped all the helps which they are doing to the other countries, especially Germany, because they have to stabilize their economy first. That is the situation. From now, the loans which we are getting from the Americans were stopped. There is no other solution left out. Till now, we are depending on the loans given by the Americans, the short-term loans. So, it resulted in a great economic depression because of the downfall of the US economy. Effects were felt all over the world, but the impact of the Germans was too large. Germans people were the worst hit because of this economic crisis. 1929 to 1932 is known as a period of recession, where there is no scope and no hope for anyone in Germany. Germans were slowly stabilizing, as I mentioned earlier, came down 40% of their production when compared to 1929 to 1932, and unemployment number raised to 6 million, which is 60 lakh people became unemployed. They used to wander on the streets with the placards, "We are willing to do any work, please give us some work." The workers were paid very less. The rich businessmen properties started to diminish, the values got diminished, the assets worth started to come down. Workers are at least able to put their heads out of the water, but the unemployed people, the children of the unemployed people, women used to find it very difficult to fill the stomachs of their children. This gave a lot of despair to them. So these all situations, and adding to this, they were actually looking at the Soviet style where the workers revolted. So here also the concept of proletarianization started to gain grounds in Germany. Now Germans are scared that the workers may revolt. The unemployed youth used to resort for criminal activities as they don't have any other work to do. They used to wander on the streets. The economy started to fall down rapidly. No jobs, no employment, no production, no opportunities. And during that time, Weimar Republic had a special article called Article 48. According to this article, the president gets the enormous powers to rule like a dictator. Though it has enormous powers, though the Article 48 has enabled the president to act mercilessly or according to his will, but still Weimar could not provide any solution. And within a span of 239 days, less than 1 year, 20 cabinets changed. With this, people lost complete confidence in Weimar Republic, in the democratic structure itself. They are unemployed, they are wandering on the streets, they used to restore for the criminal activities. Unemployment reached to its peaks. People used to stand in long queues to sleep. They used to pay money because they don't have houses. They can't pay the rents. Children are not able to be fed properly because of the lack of the food. Because they are not able to buy the food. A loaf of bread was too costly, as we have seen, due to hyperinflation. And there are no jobs available to do any work. People are ready to do any work. The situation is that horrible and pathetic. So during this time, what was the hope for them? Now, moving on to understand the rise of Hitler, the situation of political instability and economic crisis paved the way for Hitler to gain his ground in such situations. So, how did Hitler come to power? Hitler was born on 20th of April 1889 in Austria. He spent his youthhood in poverty. He lost his father at very young age. Even his mother suffered with cancer. So he lost his mother also. So as there is no one left out for him to take care of him, he used to take up many odd jobs and spend his youthhood in poverty. It was during at that time the World War I was started. He enrolled himself into the army as his physical fitness was not up to the mark to be as a soldier. So he got himself enrolled as a messenger in World War I, and he participated very actively, and he was the corporal, and he achieved medals also for his bravery, like Iron Medal. So he participated very actively. In this process of passing the messages, he was running from this side to the other side, where he was hit with a bomb and he was hospitalized. His eyes were severely damaged. So he was hospitalized, and after this the Germans declared their surrender, and which was a very shocking for Hitler. Hitler was very unhappy with the decision of the Germans surrender and the Treaty of Versailles. In 1919, he joined the German Workers' Party, which he later renamed as National Socialist Workers' Party or Nazi Party. In 1923, Hitler planned to seize Bavaria and march to Berlin and capture power. But he failed, he was arrested, and he was put on the charges of treason, and later, after a couple of years, he was released. In 1929 to 1932, Germany was the worst hit of the economic crisis. So lack of unemployment, factories shut down, production fell down. All these situations gave the Germans to have no hopes. During this time, the Nazi propaganda stirred the hopes for the Germans. In 1928, the Nazis' approval from the people was just 2.6%. But in 1932, the percentage rose up to 37%, and it emerged as the single largest party in Germany. So what happened next? What made Hitler to be the most popular leader? We will find out what are the qualities that Hitler had, what are the strategies that Hitler has used to capture the attention of the people towards him, and how did he project himself as a savior for the people. Let us check now. He was a very powerful speaker. He used to practice for his speeches, and he used to deliver in effective speeches. When he is delivering the speeches, he used to capture the attention of everybody. Even though he used to address a large gathering, he used to make sure that the points what he wants to deliver, he used to deliver very clearly and in a very short and precise manner. And as a part of his speeches, he used to have a passion when he is delivering the speeches. And the passion to drive him, he inculcates that habit to all the others also, that we are born to rule. We should do something. We should not be suppressed like this. So whenever he uses the words, and he used to play with the words so that they gets connected to the people. He also promised to the people that he is going to build a very strong nation, not like a nation which is living on the terms or the short loans given by the Americans or the France people or anybody else. He want to make a very strong nation, which Germany used to be prior to World War I. Then undo the injustice which has happened with the Treaty of Versailles. He promised clearly that he is going to stop all the conditions which are laid through the Treaty of Versailles against the Germans. And he also told that he would revoke all the conditions and get back the wealth to the Germans. And he also promised employment for all those who are willing to work. So this strong nation undo the injustice of Treaty of Versailles, secure future for the youth. These are some of the major promises which he made. We are in a situation where there was no hope for the people. 239 days, 20 cabinets changed, no proper administration, no guarantee of the future, no employment. People used to wander searching for jobs. During that time, someone stands up and promises that I am going to build a strong nation for you. I will give employment for all those who need. I am going to secure the future of the youth who are indulged in the criminal activities. So these all attracted the attention of the people. From the people, those who are in a lot of despair and lot of dissatisfaction, where there is no hope for the people about their future, he is guaranteeing the future for them. He is becoming the hope for millions of people who don't have work started to believe that Hitler would give some work for us. Youth who are involved in other activities started to believe in Hitler's ideology that youth will get a secured future in the next generation. So these all situations, adding for this, he also made it very clear that he would weed out all the foreign influences what are present in the country at that point of time, like France occupying the Ruhr Valley, then the other countries occupying the other parts. So he want all the foreign powers to be weeded out and thrown out from the territory of Germany, and Germany should regain back its old strong position. This was a strong promise made by Hitler. This attracted the people's attention, but it did not instill the confidence among the people. Hitler understood the ideology of people very clearly. Simply just explaining the concept doesn't make the people to understand the ground reality. As when we are addressing a mass gathering, we need to instill the confidence in them by a new strategy, which Hitler started the new political system into practice, a new style of politics. He used to have massive rallies. He used to conduct huge roadside rallies. He used to mobilize the mass on a larger scale, and this has built a sense of unity by instilling confidence among the people. Whenever there is a mass mobilization, people started to believe that yes, he is a true man who can save us from all these miseries. Only he can do the justice for us which the injustice has done for us through the Treaty of Versailles. And he also had a new style, like swastika was a symbol of his party. Nazi salute, compulsory, everybody has to practice the Nazi salute. And he started instilling on everybody that the symbol, the salute. And not only this, after every speech, he used to get a huge round of applause. These all were systematic patterns, the new styles which he brought into politics, which were not so much present at that point of time. He slowly went to the ground reality where people till yesterday were having no hopes. They are living in a condition of complete poverty, economic and political instability. There is no hope that something can happen to them. Some changes will happen. This political instability, the economic instability will be removed. But he appeared like a man who came to save these people from this economic despair, from this economic poverty, from this political instability, from the fragile Weimar Republic. There is someone who is there to protect all of us, someone who is there to give a helping hand to raise all the people from the absolute poverty to the absolute stability. So these all are the strategies, the promises made by Hitler. Hitler, from a normal soldier, a messenger, became a party leader, the most busiest politician who is in very busy giving speeches everywhere, giving to large number of crowd, and he became the messiah of the Germans. So he is the savior today at that point of time. The only savior who can save from the all problems for them. He is the only person who can give his helping hand to bring all the people from the pond of sorrows and miseries to some kind of happiness to them. Let us see what happened next. Now, the destruction of democracy. As Hitler proved himself as he is the only man who can protect the people and solve the social and the political, economical crisis in the country of Germany. Moving ahead, he is able to get the support of the people in large number. In 1928, the Nazi party could have only 2.6% of the people's votes, but later in 1932, it is able to secure 37% and emerge as the largest single party in Germany. So looking at the growing publicity and the massive support and the major victory of Hitler, on 30th of Jan 1933, the president of Germany, Hindenburg, Paul von Hindenburg, has offered the highest cabinet rank of ministers, chancellorship, to Hitler. So with this, Hitler acquired political power into his hands. But Hitler is not satisfied. Hitler wants a complete dismantling of democracy. He wants to have his word as a final authority. He don't want anyone to stop or to discuss about his actions or his taking of the words. So what did he do? He seriously planned to dismantle the democracy. On 28th of February 1933, a mysterious fire broke out in the Parliament Hall of Germany, the Reichstag, and this was portrayed as the action of the communists. As the communists are the arch enemies of Hitler, he turned towards the communists. He ordered the communists have to be taken away from the city, and these communists were targeted in large number and they were sent to the concentration camps. Along with this, he also brought certain decrees into existence, the orders that the freedom of speech, freedom of press, and freedom of assembly are being denied, be suspended, which are being guaranteed by the Weimar Republic in 1919, are being removed by as soon as Hitler has come to power in 1933. So what did he do next? Hitler, after getting the commands, the decrees, he on 3rd of March 1993 passed the enabling acts which made the Weimar Republic to crush to zero and rose Hitler to be the most powerful person in the country. So he emerged as a strong dictator with the enabling acts which are passed on 3rd of March 1933. With this, Hitler got emerged as a dictator of Germany. Later, Hitler banned all the political parties and the trade unions except the Nazi and its allied unions other than the associates of Nazi party, and the trade unions which are not associated with the Nazi party were completely banned, and there are no political rights, no speech, no freedom, and no assembly, which he already brought through certain decrees, and he became very powerful with the enabling of this act. Economy, media, army, judiciary, everything came under the control of Hitler. Along with this, he empowered the police department very effectively by creating various set of teams which work under him, like the secret security, special forces, storm troopers, Gestapo, committed police people or communist police or concentrated police, then special security, torture camps and concentration camps are established. So the Gestapo can pick up anyone whomever they feels that they are involved in any of the activities. They can pick up them and put them in the torture camps or the concentration camps. They did not follow any legal procedures. So this empowered the police to pick up anyone whomever they wish or whomever they get the orders to destroy particular sections like communist people, socialist people, or the Jews, gypsies, Polish, whomever it is. As soon as they get the orders, they used to go reach the places, pick up them and put them in the concentration camps or the other torture camps or the gas chambers, wherever it is possible, and try to finish up the story there. So this gave the police the impunity without any rules and regulations. They can arrest anyone, and this made Hitler to be the most powerful person, with anyone having no authority to question him. There is no right to speech, no right to freedom, no right to assemble. All trade unions are banned, and everything is under the control of the police. The police has been brought under the most powerful sector and under the direct control of Hitler. Now, after Hitler made himself as the most powerful ruler, established himself as a dictator, he banned all the political parties, all the trade unions, set up a special security forces, and empowered the police department to pick up anyone from anywhere and put them in the concentration camps, so that the story would be finished there. Now moving ahead, as a part of the elections and the manifestos, he promised for all the people that he will uplift them from poverty. He assured employment for the youth. He assured employment for everybody. The future of the youth is secure. So in order to fulfill all these promises, he started to work on that. The reconstruction of Germany. He called the famous economist Hjalmar Schacht and given the responsibility to re-establish the country's economy. Hjalmar aimed at full production and employment. These were the two targets given to Hjalmar. Hjalmar was very successful in giving or implementing this effectively. Hjalmar, in full production and employment, he brought by getting super highways in Germany, and also the company for production is the Volkswagen, the famous car even today was being established in this process of reconstruction of Germany. As he started to stabilize the economy, Hitler also gained a quick success in the foreign policy. That is, he pulled out Germany from the League of Nations immediately in 1933, and he also occupied Rhineland in 1936, and he integrated Germany, Austria as one people, one empire, one leader. One people, one empire, one leader. And he also went on next to the rest of Germany, Sudetenland, which is occupied by Czechoslovakia at that point of time, and he reoccupied this also. So he reoccupied Rhineland, he reintegrated Germany and Austria and the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia, and these all activities of Hitler were getting the silent support of England, because England also somehow felt that Germany was treated very harsh with the Treaty of Versailles. So England is giving a silent support to Hitler to gain the approach of whatever he wants, because he is pulling out from League of Nations in 1933. He has integrating and he is occupying the other places which were once a part and parcel of Germany. In this process, Hallmer advised Hitler not to invest in arms, not to invest on military. As in Germany, we all know, Hitler doesn't like advisors, that too cautious people. So Hallmer has to leave Germany now, because he started to caution Hitler on Hitler's moves. Hitler thought of, in order to stabilize the economy, we need to have more territories. Then only you get more natural resources. Then only the economy will develop. It's not that without war you cannot develop the country. So this is the idea of Hitler, which is against the views of Hallmer. So Hallmer has to leave Germany. Hitler proceeded with his thoughts. So what happened next? Did Hitler achieve success or not? Rise of Hitler on his peak, that is in September 1939, Germany attacked Poland. As a part of the tripartite pact signed between Germany, Italy and Japan, these three countries would defend any of the countries when it is endangered by attacked by any other country. When the similar thing happened when Hitler attacked Poland, they are also in a pact. So England and France started to attack Germany. Hitler was at the pinnacle. Pinnacle is the highest point of his power. In 1940, Hitler was at the highest point of his power, and he replaced many of the regimes or kings in eastern part of Europe who are supporting to him. Whoever is not supporting him, he used to crush them and replace with the puppet regimes there. So like that, he started to gain the international support for him. Though initially England was silent with the moves and the motives of Hitler, but later when Hitler attacked Poland, England took it very seriously and declared war against him. In the initial years, Hitler was getting success. Hitler, as a part of the promises what he made, he wanted to give food and living space for all the Germans. In order to achieve that, he need to occupy some more territories. So his plan now want to hit Soviet Union. Many of the historians consider this as a historic blunder done by Hitler. He, in June 1941, in the wake to fulfill his promise made to the Germans of providing food and living space to all the Germans, Hitler attacked the Soviet Union in June 1941, and this attack of Hitler to Soviet Union, the historical blunder made by him. So on the west we have England attacking the German forces. On the east we have the massive Soviet Red Army coming towards German soldiers. So from both the sides, aerial bombing and attacking on the land. Red Army hounded out the German soldiers from the eastern part of Europe and made them to reach till the heart of Berlin. So it had a historic defeat at Stalingrad, where the Soviet army defeated the German soldiers. So it was this phase where Hitler started to come down rapidly, and Japan on the east wanted to expand its naval bases. It started to occupy some of the parts of French lands, and US was not ready to join into the war because it already experienced the severe economic crisis after World War I. So they were not very active. They are very passive towards the World War II. But Japan attacked US Pearl Harbor with the bombing. The rain of bombs shredded Pearl Harbor. With this, US jumped into the World War II on the side of England, France, Russia and USSR, the Soviet Union and USA. So now USA used 2 atom bombs to crush Japan at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and with this, in May 1945, the World War completely came to an end. This is a brief account of what happened in the years of 1932-33 to 1943-45, and why Helmut's father was so scared. We will move back to the story now. Now, what is Nazis' worldview? Nazis' worldview is nothing but it's a synonym of Hitler's worldview. What did Hitler think about the people around him and about the Germans? Hitler always justified the glory that there is no equality between human beings. The background for this he gets from Charles Darwin and Herbert Spencer's theory to explain the plants and the animal species. He, in his book, explained the evolution and the settlement of the plants and the animals. He absorbed this theory from Herbert Spencer and Charles Darwin, and he accommodated this theory and tried to fit it for the human beings, where he wanted to justify that the Aryan Nordic race, the blue-eyed people, are the Germans and they are the top. They are pure, they should be the strongest, and they should conquer the world. This is the ultimate view of Hitler. He did not believe in the concept of equality at all. He believed that Germans are born to rule, and today Germans are on the lowest level of the society. So he wanted to bring the Germans to the topmost level, and this he also added to the concept that it is nothing but the survival of the fittest. The strong will survive, the strong will rule. This is the main driving force of Hitler. And the other important point what he explained was the Lebensraum, or the living space. The Lebensraum, or the living space, is he want to give additional space for all the Germans to survive. He want to add extra territories. So he started to experiment it in Poland. He want to expand towards the east, and he want to put all the Germans at one place. Poland has been his laboratory for testing all these things. So Hitler believed that there is no equality. Hitler want to extend the territories which can fetch more land, more resources, more minerals and additional space for the people to survive. Hitler believed that only the Germans are pure and biologically perfect. He believed that all the others are impure and biologically not perfect. So in this idea, he wanted to establish the racial state where only the pure race survives. He considered all the others as undesirable. Only his race is pure and healthy, and it is desirable. The Helmut's father under the program was euthanasia, where he also supported the Greeks killing others who are physically and psychologically unfit. This is the reason why Helmut's father was scared and afraid of what the others are going to do. Now it is a turn of them that they may reverse the actions what we did to them. That is the reason why he committed suicide. Later, Jews, Gypsies, Russians and Poles, all these people are considered as undesirable by Hitler. And Jews are the special targets of Hitler, as we all know. Jews, the killers of the Christ, Jewish people largely used to do by money lending and doing businesses. So Hitler considered them the main reason for all the problems of the world is Jewish problem. The only solution is elimination completely. If you eliminate them, there is no problem for us. So eliminate the Jewish, the problems of the world will be eliminated. And later, 1933-38, the Nazis ideology always used to terrorize the Jews and make them to get scared. From 1939 to 1945, the Nazis started to send them to concentration camps, gas chambers, or the other places, final destinations, and kill of them extensively. So this is the racial state what Hitler started to make in Germany. Now, the racial utopia. Hitler, under the name of World War, he did the genocide and war. Both are the two sides of the same coin. He targeted the people. When Poland was initially annexed to Germans, the Polish people were targeted and they were considered as undesirable people, and they were sent like cattle herders, and they were thrown out of their own homes, and the Germans were brought here and they were kept here in the Poland, and the intelligent people of Poland were targeted and killed, murdered brutally. A large number of intelligentsia were being killed extensively, and children who look like Aryan race people were snatched off from the parents and they were tested by the race experts. If the test proves that he is an Aryan, he is being brought up by the German families. If he is proven that he is not an Aryan, he will be thrown into an orphanage from where many of them used to get perished. And they used the general government was set up, which is famously known, and they have ghettos, gas chambers, concentration camps where many of the thousands of the people were targeted and killed. This is the racial utopia of Hitler. Hitler, he was fanatically interested in the youth because he believed that in order to set up a Nazi society, the children and the youth have to be inculcated the values and the ideas of Nazism. The Nazi ideology has to be carried forward by Hitler's young generations. That is the ideology of Hitler. So, youth in Nazi Germany. Hitler wanted to teach the children the ideology of Nazism, and the schools inside and outside were completely under the control of Hitler's purview. During this time, the Hitler cleansed and purified the schools. He first segregated the Jews and the Germans. The Jew teachers are politically unreliable. So Jew teachers are thrown outside and Jew children were also thrown outside. By 1940s, they were sent to gas chambers. They were killed. And good Germans were sent for Nazi schooling, ideological training, and they were forced to worship Hitler, and they are to stand up for the Nazis' ideology. They were given more training to play sports also in which violence is there, especially boxing. The men should be strong, masculine, and violent in nature, aggressive. These are the important characteristics, features required for Nazis according to Hitler. Hitler's youth programs, Hitler's youth organizations. Hitler concentrated more on the youth. He clearly dictated what the youth should do. His ideology is very clear. The young children should get inculcated the values of Nazis' ideology, Nazis' views. They should be very strong, masculine, iron-hearted, believe in violence, aggressive, and intolerant towards the undesirables. These are the main principles what you want to inculcate in the Aryan race. So at the age of 10, they have to join the junk folk. At the age of 14, they have to join the Nazi youth. At the age of 18, they have to join the army, the labor services, and to serve the nation. In 1922, a Nazi league was established in which all the youth were as members. It was in 1926 as renamed as Hitler's Youth. Finally, Hitler's target is only one thing. His children should be healthy. They should be masculine. They should be iron-hearted. They should be violent believers, aggressive in nature. They should have that strong, firm decision-making mindset, and they have to target the undesirable without any compromise. That's why he need iron heart. These are the main things what he want the youth to inculcate in their day-to-day attitude, physically, psychologically, to change the mindset of the youth. Hitler gave a special importance for the motherhood. Nazi cult of motherhood. Hitler believed that the most important citizen of his country is mothers, because according to him the girls become the good mothers. They have to become good mothers. He always denied the equality status between men and women. Men should be masculine, iron-hearted, fight for the nation. Women should be at home, do not have the democratic ideas, but they should rear up good Aryan race children and teach them the Nazi values. That's what his main idea was. And to maintain the purity of German race, Aryan race. The most important was he also encouraged the women who gave birth for, who maintained the purity and gave birth for many Germans, like 4 children, bronze medal or bronze cross, 6 children, silver cross, 8 children, gold crosses. Like that, he gave an encouragement for them to give more pure blooded children. But at the same time, if any of the girls or the women violated this, he used to make them to wander in the streets by shaving their heads, by making their blackened faces, and also putting the placards in the neck stating that I have sullied the pride of the nation. So like this, he used to give the violent punishments for them, and many of the women who maintained contacts with the Polish, Russians, or the other than the Germans, Jews, they were sent to jails and lost their husbands and families for their criminal offenses. Hitler considered this very seriously. He believed the racial utopian ideology strictly. Aryans are pure and healthy. Rest of the all are impure and biologically they are not fit. So he want to have a healthy society which is pure, and he want to maintain that purity. He want his country women also to maintain that purity and rear only Aryan race children. Nazis' art of propaganda. Hitler used media and language with a lot of care. In the official records, you never find a word like killing, mass killings, or anything. You find the words like special treatments, euthanasia. All these are different kinds of words which are meanings to that. We also find evacuations, a place where they were deported and sent to gas chambers, and these gas chambers were also known as disinfected areas. These gas chambers just look like our washrooms, a bathroom where they have a shower head, a fake shower head through which the gas comes in and kills the people. And they used to propagate the Nazi ideology through visuals, films, posters, catchy taglines, catchy visuals, and all these things. They always used to show the Jews as a main reason for all the worldly problems, and they used to show them with large beards. They used to show them as they are the eternal Jews, or the main reason for all the problems. In any movies, they are the most portrayed villains. The foreigners or anybody has been portrayed in a very large scale, and which triggers the anger of the Germans against them. And these people were shown with beards. They were called, equated with rats, pests, and all these things. When it comes to their Nazis ideology, they are propagated as their saviors for everything, and only the Nazis can solve all the problems. Now, ordinary people, their reaction towards Nazism And what did the ordinary people do, or how did they cooperate with Nazi views? Crimes against humanity. What was the reaction against the crimes that were done against humanity? The Nazis' eyes and Nazis' mind. Yes, many people in Germany started to believe the views of Nazi. They looked the world only with the views of Nazis. Nazis' eyes. It's like when we are walking in a sun rays, if you put a cooling goggles and you walk, you feel that there is no sun. In a similar way, most of the Germans started to adopt the view of Nazis by putting it to a blanket to their eyes. They believed the Nazis' views blindly. Even the mindset was also changed. They looked the world with the mind of the Nazis only. They used to suspect the Jews. The neighboring suspicious Jews were reported to the nearby police and they were asked to remove. Many believed that the Nazis' view only will bring prosperity and well-being of the people of Germans. That made many of them to deport the Jews. And coming to the past, many of the Germans are not Nazis. Yes, most of them believed in the Nazis' views, but not all. Some of them resisted, some of them were tortured, some of them were killed, most of them were passive onlookers. In order to make it very clearly to understand for all of us, writer named Neo Moeller. Neo Moeller has looked at the passive resistance of the Germans for the crimes that are happening against humanity. He wrote in a very silently and a very heart-touching manner. That is, first they came for the communists. I was not a communist, so I did nothing. Next, they came for social democrats. I was not a democrat, so I did nothing. Then they came for trade unionists. I am not a trade unionist also. Later they came for Jews. I was not a Jew, so I did little. Finally they came for me. There was no one left out behind. So this is the silent version of what actually happened in Germany under the rule of Hitler. It is not only the views of Germans. Carlotta Burdett has recorded the views of Jews also in her book Third Reich of Dreams. The Third Reich of Dreams will give an idea how did the Jews feel about the rule of the Hitler. Many of the Jews also started to believe that they are undesirable people. They are worried about their nose, their hair, their eyes. They used to feel that they are impure people. They also started to believe in the Nazis' ideology, and they were stereotypically viewed in the movies and all. They used to die before they reach in the gas chambers many a times. The knowledge of the Holocaust. How did the world come to know what happened in the Nazi Germany? Because it is very little possible to know when Hitler was in his peak of the power. Now, after the war or at the later stage of the war, when Germans started to get defeated, the horrors which happened in the Nazi Germany came to light. When Germany was in its journey to defeat the other nations, it was very busy getting defeated in the other nations' hands. During that period, the knowledge of the ghettos came outside. One of the inhabitant who stayed in ghettos, saying to the other person who is staying in the ghettos that I want to survive at least half an hour in the war outside, so that I can explain to the world what is actually happening in Nazi Germany, what kind of treatment that is meted to him. He wants to bring out his sorrow to the people. He wants the world to know what is actually happening here. And this came to light only after Hitler got defeated. And they made all the necessary steps to stop this. The petrol was distributed in all the offices when the news spread that Germany got defeated, to destroy all the evidences, whatever that is available. The history, is a memory, is a reminder for the Holocaust. And in the place, in the poems, in the magazines, in the journals, everywhere we have the memories of the Holocaust. It is nothing but, it is an evidence of those who resisted it. It is an embarrassing reminder those who collaborated for that, and it is a warning for those who watched it silently. So, with this, we can understand what exactly happened in the Nazis' rule. We have seen in this unit the situations which forced the birth of the Weimar Republic to become fragile, the democratic idea to fail, the Great Economic Depression effects on Germany, later the rise of Hitler, his idea to dismantle democracy, taking over the complete power, rising the economy, reconstruction of Germany, Nazis' ideology, Jews' Holocaust, everything. Yes, it is really a painful part. One section of people are targeted and killed brutally, but we have very little to do with the history. But it is a warning to the future generations that they should not indulge in any such kind of activities. That is a great point which we learn from our history.